Hello, this is Eric, and welcome to another screencast from teachmetocode.com. We're going to be going over getting connected to Twitter using the OAuth gem. The first thing we want to do is create a new Twitter account. As you can see, I've created a new Twitter account for this demonstration. It's TMTC Twit gem. That's because we're TMTC is Teach Me to Code, and we're going to show you how to use the Twitter gem. So the gem we're going to use is John Newtomaker's Twitter gem. That can be found at twitter.rubyforge.org. It was a little difficult to start using it first because I'm such a newbie to OAuth. But once I went through this and I kind of figured it out using the tutorials, I wanted to share that with you guys. So the first thing we do is install our Twitter gem, and once that's installed, and we're going to just wait here a second for it to install. I guess I could have probably copied or edited it to zoom through that, but hey, this is fun stuff. So we're going to go through and take John's example, and we're going to create a simple Ruby file to do that. I just created a Twitter OAuth folder, and inside that I want to create a new file called getmyauth.rb, and let's try and get this thing working. Just resizing it here so everybody can see it. Let's require Ruby gems, and after that we want to require the Twitter gem. Let me just resize this here a little bit. Okay, now we do OAuth is Twitter OAuth.new, and there's two variables we need to pass into this. The first one is the consumer token, and the second one is the consumer secret. Because I like to keep things clean, we're going to create separate variables for those, and I'll show you in a moment how to get those. Now, once you create a new Twitter account, everybody has access to the API. So to get there, go to your Twitter account, open up the API, then click the link on Getting Started. Then you'll find an authentication link which you can click on, and then from there it shows a link to get to the OAuth clients. And here we can actually register an application for ourselves. So I want to quickly select an icon, and there we go. And if you don't know what that is, that's the Max, one of the old MTV shows. Anyway, call it Teach Me to Code OAuth example. A description is connect to Twitter using OAuth, and our application website is the Teach Me to Code. Just a lot of Teach Me to Code here. Notice that on the application type there are two types. One is browser and one is client. Now the browser requires a callback so that it's typically used for authentication and login. So we want to use client. We want to allow read-write access, and everything looks good. So click submit, and here we have our information. This is what we need. We have our consumer key, and we're going to paste that into our little app, and then our consumer secret we have. And now that we have that, we are good to move on with the next step, which is actually getting the access token and the access secret. Okay, now that we have our OAuth object, we want to take a look at the contents. Let's go ahead and put out the YAML view. Okay, here we go. You can see that we have a lot of information, most of which we don't need. Down here at the bottom, you do see that we have a secret and a token. Those are the two fields that we do, or the two parameters that we do need here, the two values, I should say. So why don't we create a new variable called token2, and we're going to assign the token to that, and we'll create secret2 and assign the secret value to that. Okay, now that we have that, the goal of this is to be able to authenticate this token and secret and this additional token and secret against Twitter. So to do so, we need to actually open up a browser and get a pin from them. So here we create a little output that we can use in a Ruby script, and here we actually call open, which will open a URL in a browser, and we put our authorization URL, nope, looks like that's not right. Authorization URL, it's actually here, let me look. It's authorized URL. So once we have that, you see it does pop open, and we're asked if we want to authorize this account to be usable on Teach Me to Code. So it gives us a PIN number. We can copy that. However, right now we have no way of really using it. So to do that, why don't we go ahead and add the ability to get the PIN number back, and once we have that, we will be able to use it directly in the script. So you can see we're accessing the PIN with gets.chomp, and we will go ahead and run this in a why don't we just run this using a simple Ruby command. So let me get things sorted here. We want to print out the PIN that we get back, so we know it's working. And let me run the command get my auth, and there we go. We have our PIN number. Let's paste it in, and there we go. It shows that it did print out. So good. We're on target here. All right. The next thing we want to do is actually authorize that request with Twitter, or authorize this all with Twitter. To do so, we need to pass in our new token, our new secret, and the PIN number, calling OAuth to authorize from request. And once we have that, we want to print out our authorization token, or our access token, I should say, and then our access token secret. And once we have those, that is pretty much the whole point of this, is to get those two fields. Why don't we, just in case we get an authorization error, why don't we put this around a begin and rescue statement, and catch any we're going to catch any unauthorized failure, and we'll put out fail. Okay. So now that we have that, let's give it another shot. Click allow and copy the PIN number. And we're going to paste it into our thing, and there we go. We have our A token and our A secret. Those are really what this whole thing's been about. So we've fulfilled our purpose with the script by getting those. Now that we have that, I want to show you how we can actually use what we've achieved by creating a new file called testmyauth.rb. It's going to be somewhat similar to the other one. We're going to require our Ruby gems, we're going to require Twitter, and let's go ahead and place out all of our variables that we're going to need here. So we have token, secret, we need our new access token, and our access secret. So I think I still have that on my yeah, I still have it on my clipboard, so let me just paste those in real quick. Okay, and I also need to get the token and the secret that I was originally given. Okay, so we have that in order. Now let's go back to John's tutorial and find out how to actually use these things. So you can see in his example, it has an example on how to create a new client from our OAuth object. So let's fill in the variables here with our variables. And now that we have that, let's go ahead and inspect the no, that's not going to work. So, all right, yeah, it's OAuth. So we do have a response. We do have an object that's working. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at our timeline. And there's no real return because I don't think we actually have a timeline. This is a brand new account, so it really doesn't do anything. So why don't we post a new message to this Twitter account? Let's do this. Is a test from the new Twitter gem screencast. We'll save that and we'll run it. And now let's go back to our home page, and there we have it. And there it is. And right there it shows that this is a test from the new Twitter gem screencast. So I hope that helped you guys. We're going to be using this in our next screencast, and thank you for watching.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!